Hey, Alex Ansary here, October 19th, 2015. This is a great time to kind of reflect on a particular message to a particular demographic. And it would be those couples that have moved out here with a dream of living off the grid. And they're looking for some sort of, they want to know what's going on. They want to know where all this is going to go and if their investment was the right investment. And here's what I think. I think that what we're seeing in Costilla County is almost as if it's only the strong survive, only the spiritually strong survive, because it's as if someone wants to push us out of here. And I believe that Costilla County and certain areas in Costilla County, with some of the events that I think are going to take place in the next decade and beyond, that anyone living off the grid self-sufficiently miles from these major U.S. cities with access to basic resources, with access to their own peace by being in a remote area. I believe Costilla County will be one of the safest places on the earth. I don't really care if people agree with me on that or not, because of the things that could happen. And you look at, the effect of a massive solar flare, its effect on the power grid. And by studying the area around Costilla County on Google Earth for hours and seeing how far removed it really is from Colorado Springs and from Denver, it makes it a great place to be. Does it mean that there won't be thieves and people targeting places out in the prairie? I think that there is a lot of benefit to having a mountain home. Of course, that's a different subdivision, the San Grado Cristo mountain range, and I think there's a little bit more expected to live legally and within code, but I think that if someone has the means to, I think that's a great place to be. The San Grado Cristo Mountains, I think the prairie is a good place to do commerce and maybe trade and barter when people are eventually growing their own food. If we end up with more rain than ever and we see shifts in the drought, I think that's going to make this area much more valuable, especially if people are growing crops that don't need a lot of water. Then they will be independent of a need for massive amounts of water. I'm not talking about growing tomatoes or zucchinis, folks. I'm talking about things like quinoa, amaranth, and other wheat-like crops that would grow naturally. So it's like an only the strong survives type of scenario. And that's my response to people asking the question, should we stay or should we go now? Final point. Huey Lewis, that song from the 80s, The Power of Love. For those of you in relationships, if you're not on the same page when it comes to going off grid, I think you're going to have to nip that in the butt first. You got to deal with that, because there's an energy imbalance if you are not on the same page. I am not going to provide you relationship advice, but I will tell you the core problem may be that if you're in a relationship and you're not on the same side, that's the core of your problem right there. You need to have both people basically on the same side. And the thing about the San Luis Valley is it's not for all men, it's not for all women. It's really not a place for most women of today's day and age. You really need to be a unique woman to begin with to really come in here and want to stay here. That's just how it is. That's just how it is. There's a heavy masculine energy over this part of the San Luis Valley. North of San Luis Valley, you have places like Salida, and there's maybe more women than men there. It's a different energy, frequency. But some women like that energy that's here in Costilla County. But for the most part, most don't. And they stay in the dense population, energy harvesting centers of today's biggest cities on the earth, surrounded by cell phones, technology, and televisions and monitors screaming at them. Lights going off, McDonald's fry machine alarms going off. Order today, just swipe here, everything's going to be fine. So this place is not for everybody. It's definitely not for every woman. So people may come out and they may buy land, but in the end they may say, you know what, I want no part of this. You know what, I'm being pushed out of this. I don't have what it takes to be in for the long haul. And if you don't, then you know what? You know what you got to do. But for the rest of us, I swear to God, we've been called here for future events, and we're going to survive.